You know, Angel Reese doesn't like Caitlin Clark. Go back to when she won a national title. She didn't celebrate with her teammates. She mocked Caitlin Clark. So there's jealousy there. I certainly see that with her. I don't know about the league.
Interview 1. Did you see what Dan Patrick just said about Angel Reese? He called her jealous of Caitlin Clark's impact on the WNBA, criticizing how Reese claims viewers are watching because of her rather than Clark. What's behind this clash between two of women's basketball's biggest stars? Patrick didn't just make accusations, he brought receipts. He highlighted Clark's Time magazine cover, while others questioned why it wasn't Angel Reese.
By this, but there's nothing wrong with admitting that you watch a sport because of one singular person. People watched golf because of Tiger.
The answer reveals something deeper about recognition in women's sports. Clark transformed the WNBA landscape similar to how Gretzky changed hockey, but this conflict might reflect something more fundamental about fame, recognition, and the changing face of women's basketball.
I do think that she's benefited. The WNBA has benefited from Caitlin Clark and the publicity. She's the one who has to answer these questions, though, after games.
Patrick zeroed in on something, revealing Reese's own words about the WNBA's growing popularity. While everyone's discussing the Caitlin Clark effect on viewership, Reese pushes a different narrative, claiming she is actually responsible for those new fans and higher ratings.
Basketball, people are pulling up to games. We got celebrities coming to games, sold out arenas, like just because of one single game. And just looking at that, like, I'll take that role. I'll take the bad guy role, and I'll continue to take that on and be that for my teammates. And if I want to be that, and I know I'll go down in history, I'll look back in 20 years and be like, yeah, the reason why we watching women's basketball is not just because of one person. It's because of me too, and I want y'all to realize that.
Patrick saw through this facade like a detective, spotting inconsistencies in a witness statement. What makes Patrick's take compelling is how he connected the dots in this basketball drama unfolding both on and off the court. He highlighted that Reese deliberately tries to diminish Clark's influence on the league. During a recent post-game interview, when reporters asked about Clark breaking attendance records, Reese immediately pivoted to discussing her own impact, a move Patrick identified as part of a calculated pattern.
Now, you can't factor in that Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese don't have a good relationship, and Angel Reese has mocked Caitlin Clark, has roughed up Caitlin Clark a couple of times.
The way Patrick broke it down, Reese struggles with Clark transforming the WNBA landscape. Consider the evidence. Clark enters the league and suddenly arenas sell out, TV ratings skyrocket, and media coverage explodes. That reality creates a challenging situation for someone positioning herself as the league's face.
But make no mistake about it, Caitlin Clark is the reason why everybody has an opinion on what happened in that game. It's Caitlin Clark.
This isn't a one-time occurrence either. Patrick pointed to multiple instances where Reese attempted to claim credit for the WNBA's growth. Moments after a sold-out game in Chicago, Reese suggested her social media following drove the attendance spike, despite data showing ticket sales jumped dramatically after Clark's draft announcement. Each move in this rivalry resembles a chess match where Reese counters Clark's organic popularity with strategic positioning.
WNBA has been around a couple of decades, and people didn't notice the game. They're noticing it now. Well, that's because of Caitlin Clark, not Angel Reese. Angel Reese has played a role in this, and she's a very good player. But there's nothing about her game that's really interesting that is going to translate to people who may not watch the WNBA, may not care about basketball. She is a social media star, and she has capitalized on that.
Patrick described Reese as a social media star playing a calculated game, while Clark lets her basketball skills speak for themselves. Reese generates controversy to maintain relevance. She's playing the social media game all the way to the bank, according to Patrick, recognizing that sustaining this rivalry benefits her brand.
Here, Angel Reese stays in the news. If Angel Reese was going into the WNBA and Caitlin Clark, no one would care. She'd be like, oh, okay, that woman's really good on the offensive boards. I mean, that's really what she is.
Interestingly, Patrick believes Reese has purposely embraced the villain role, a shrewd business decision creating contrast with Clark's image while keeping both players in the spotlight. This approach reveals something deeper. Reese recognizes that Clark's natural ability to attract fans through exceptional basketball is unique.
But I think Angel Reese is jealous of Caitlin Clark. She thinks she's, the reason why this is all happening here. Caitlin Clark was going to get eyeballs whether she played against Angel Reese in LSU or not, because we had not seen anything like this before.
The jealousy in Patrick's assessment stems from a fundamental reality. Clark doesn't need manufactured drama to be a star. Her game speaks for itself. Reese has built her platform through her cultivated persona and this rivalry. She's undeniably talented, but Patrick suggests her path to fame requires different tactics than Clark's pure basketball appeal.
Caitlin got all of this exposure. She's getting endorsements because she's unique. It's like Steph Curry's unique, Tiger Woods' unique. Not everybody gets it just because, hey, I put in 10 years in the WNBA or the PGA Tour or the NBA. It doesn't work that way. It's supply and demand. Do they want to buy your shoes or do they not? Do they want to play your basketball? Do they want to play with a Wilson? I mean, that's what this is about.
The comparison Patrick made between Angel Reese and Draymond Green revealed something far more calculated about Reese's approach to her WNBA career. Patrick exposed what he sees as a deliberate strategy. Reese is actively trying to become women's basketball's version of the NBA's most notorious instigator. Much like how Draymond Green built his persona on controversy, Reese appears to replicate this strategy on the hardwood. This approach centers on brand building through controversy rather than playing style.
Angel Reese wants to be Draymond Green. She's more Dylan Brooks. Like, she's trying to be an instigator. She goes out of her way to criticize Caitlin Clark. So if you factor all of this in, that's when people have opinions that aren't basketball related.
Patrick directly called out Reese as an instigator who's consciously crafting a villain persona in the women's game. Draymond Green has built his entire brand around being the bad guy, the enforcer, the one who gets under opponents' skin. According to Patrick, that's exactly the blueprint Reese is following with Clark as her primary target. As evidence, Patrick highlighted specific on-court incidents that demonstrate this pattern. He pointed to the play where Reese appeared to hit Clark in the head during what was supposedly a block attempt. As he described it, Reese was trying to block the shot and ended up hitting Caitlin Clark in the head or going across her face. In Patrick's view, this fits a pattern of physical intimidation tactics targeted specifically at Clark.
Yep, across the head, and they will go to the monitor to review this one.
Yeah, that's right.
Patrick frames these actions as calculated moves designed to provoke responses and generate headlines. Similar to how Draymond Green has mastered the art of physical play that borders on crossing the line, Reese applies the same playbook to her encounters with Clark, aiming for maximum attention with minimum consequences.
So she's sort of embraced a Draymond Green role here. But the eyeballs on the WNBA really have to do with Caitlin Clark.
The strategic angle becomes clearer in Patrick's assessment of why Reese adopts this approach. This villain role represents a career calculation. Green's controversial persona has made him more marketable than many players with similar or better statistics. His willingness to be the heel has benefited his career enormously, bringing endorsements and media opportunities. Reese recognizes the same opportunity. By positioning herself as the antagonist to Clark's protagonist, she guarantees herself a place in every conversation about women's basketball's rising star. It's a market positioning strategy in a league where attention translates directly to opportunity.
Grace the villain. She understands social media. She's done quite well. She is literally cashed in. But her attention, her notoriety is based off Caitlin Clark.
However, embracing the villain role comes with both costs and benefits. While it may generate immediate attention, it risks overshadowing genuine athletic accomplishments. Green's technical fouls and suspensions sometimes eclipse discussions of his defensive brilliance. Similarly, Reese's antagonistic approach may divert focus from her impressive rebounding skills and scoring ability. Patrick characterizes the power dynamic clearly. Reese deliberately tries to be the bad guy to Clark's good guy because controversy sells. She leverages the Clark rivalry to increase her visibility and marketability, capitalizing on the massive attention Clark generates.
Angel Reese always comes off as the victim. And she's leaning into being, the bad guy. Here she is post-game.
For inside, I think we were playing really hard. I think we went up really strong a lot of times and we didn't get a lot of calls. And going back and looking at the film, I've seen a lot of calls that weren't made. I guess some people got a special whistle.
Okay, special whistle. She's referring to Caitlin Clark.
And if these calculated moves were not enough, the next piece of evidence leaves no room for doubt. The smoking gun in Patrick's argument arrived when Time magazine put Caitlin Clark on their cover. A moment that should have been celebrated across women's basketball became instead the perfect evidence for his jealousy theory. When Clark landed that prestigious spotlight, the reaction from certain corners of the basketball world proved exactly what Patrick had been saying all along. Instead of universal celebration for this milestone achievement, a different question immediately surfaced. Where's Angel Reese? This reaction became Patrick's watershed evidence.
Year, something clicked with the WNBA, and it's because of the draft of the players that came in. It's just not Caitlin Clark, it's Reese. We have so much talent out there that has been unrecognized, and I don't think we can just pin it on one player.
The Time cover represented mainstream cultural recognition of Clark's transformative effect on women's basketball. Yet rather than acknowledge this achievement, Patrick pointed out how quickly the conversation shifted to who wasn't featured instead of celebrating who was. The timing and nature of these reactions struck him as revealing something deeper than simple advocacy for equal recognition.
So I don't know who this person is, but felt like if you're going to celebrate the WNBA, why not celebrate it with everybody in the WNBA or some of the bigger stars and Caitlin Clark? But if you're Time's Person of the Year, it's not the People of the Year, it was a Person of the Year.
Patrick specifically zeroed in on how the Mystics owner immediately questioned Reese's absence from the cover. This represented a pattern of behavior that aligned with his theory, like a defining headline in history that reveals the true story beneath. Why, at the moment of Clark's greatest recognition, would the immediate response be to question why Reese wasn't sharing the spotlight? Patrick saw this as concrete evidence of his point. Some cannot allow Clark to have her moment without trying to divide the attention.
I think right now it is time for that to happen. So last night we read Time magazine where Caitlin Clark was named Athlete of the Year. Why couldn't they have put the whole WNBA on that cover and said the WNBA is the League of the Year because of all the talent that we have? Because when you just keep singling out one player, it creates hard feelings. And so now you're starting to hear stories of racism.
What really fired Patrick up was the timing. The moment Clark received this historic recognition, the narrative shifted to what he sees as attempts to diminish her singular impact. According to Patrick, this illustrates his point about the underlying jealousy, the inability to let Clark's achievements stand on their own merit.
Cheryl Miller or Cynthia Cooper, like, it's a win. We got to, oh God. This is a unique moment. Caitlin Clark did for the WNBA what Wayne Gretzky did for the NHL when he went to the LA Kings. It's okay. Take a victory lap.
The Time cover controversy gave Patrick the opportunity to introduce a powerful comparison. He likened Clark's effect on women's basketball to Wayne Gretzky's impact on hockey. Just as Gretzky elevated the entire NHL's visibility and popularity, Patrick argues Clark is doing the same for the WNBA, creating opportunities for everyone in the league. The rising tide lifts all boats, yet Patrick believes some aren't willing to acknowledge that Clark is creating that tide.
You don't have to go, oh my God, these people are mad, or this person's mad, or this group is mad. Caitlin Clark changed the WNBA. It's okay.
For Patrick, the questions about Reese's absence weren't about fairness. They were about an unwillingness to accept Clark's unique influence. Every time Clark achieves something significant, Patrick notes how quickly the conversation pivots to Reese. This pattern convinced Patrick that his assessment of jealousy has merit.
It's okay to say that. You're not diminishing what the founding, fathers of the WNBA did. You're not. She's the Time Person of the Year. That's all. The league won.
The Time magazine cover became Patrick's definitive evidence because it represents objective third-party recognition of Clark's impact. It was one of America's most prestigious publications acknowledging her cultural significance, and still the immediate reaction was to question why Reese wasn't there too. This moment encapsulates the shifting narrative in the WNBA, where achievements speak louder than demands for equal spotlight.
But every time we think there's a win, there's somebody who brings something else up. And it's unfortunate. It's like when Tiger joined the PGA Tour. Did we say, Time's, man of the year? Well, you can't have Tiger on there. We have to have everybody on there.
So there you have it. Dan Patrick has completely exposed what we've all been thinking. The real story behind the WNBA's viewership boost. Patrick consistently credits Caitlin Clark for the surge in WNBA viewership, emphasizing that the league's increased visibility is primarily due to her presence. It's Clark who's bringing in the fans, selling out arenas, and changing the game forever. The evidence speaks for itself. While some claim multiple players deserve equal credit, Patrick clearly shows this WNBA revolution has one catalyst: Caitlin Clark. What do you think? Do the numbers speak for themselves? Or is there more to this transformative story in women's basketball?